See the first question. Which one of the following best describes the area where an animal spends most of its time? The region that encompasses all the resources the animal requires to survive and reproduce. Option A, ecological niche. B, habitat. C, home range. D, ecotone. See, in this particular question, while we discussed our basic chapters like ecosystem or biodiversity, there we have come across all these terminologies, whether it be ecological niche, habitat, or environment, ecosystem, home range, all these things we have come across there. Okay, ecotone. Okay, all these are some basic terminologies from ecosystem as well as the biodiversity part that you must know. So here, see the question says about the area. Okay, which one of the following best describes? So you have to pick out the best answer out of the four. So which of the following best describes the area? Okay, it is asking about the area where an animal spends most of its time and the region that encompasses all the resources the animal requires to survive and reproduce. See, ecological niche. Ecological niche is actually what? Ecological niche is the yes, it is basically the functional role. Okay, apart from the physical space that is being occupied by the organism, each organism has got some unique functional role to perform in the ecosystem. That particular functional role is being described by the term ecological niche. But here the question is asking about the area, right? The area, the term which describes an area. So definitely you can eliminate option A, which says about ecological niche. So A can be eliminated there. B says about habitat, C says about home range, and D ecotone. See, what is ecotone? What is ecotone? See, ecotone is the transitional area See, it is a transitional area or it is the intermediate area which is coming between two ecosystems. Okay, so when one ecosystem is transiting to another, there comes a zone of tension or there comes an intermediate zone, a transitional area. That particular area is what is known as ecotone. And in ecotone, there, both the ecosystem, the influences of both the ecosystem will be there upon the ecotone. So there will be some predominant species present, which we call as the edge species, and the phenomenon of seeing more number of diverse species in the ecotone is known as edge effect. All these things we have studied in a static part. So it is not ecotone. Okay, basically it is not the area where an animal spends most of its time. So it is specifically asking you about the area where an animal spends most of its time. Okay, so habitat. See, habitat is actually the original area, the natural area where an animal lives or where an organism resides is basically what is habitat. So, home range, basically we have seen the basic definition of home range in our classes. What is home range? Yes, it is the area where the animal can survive, or it is the range of the area or the extent of the area where the animal lives or where it spends most of its time and where it gets all the resources for its survival as well as to reproduce. Okay, so that particular range of the area, that is what is we refer to as the home range of that particular organism. Okay, so it is not habitat. Habitat means the natural environment where one animal resides. That is broadly we say it as habitat. But home range is that range or the extent of area where the animal spends most of its lifetime. So most appropriate answer, the best description of this particular statement is actually it is home range, right? So here your answer will be option C, home range. Now, next question. Which of the following are correct regarding the characteristics of ecotone? We have just now seen with regard to ecotone, right? So here the question is asking about the characteristics of ecotone. See, the first statement says ecotones are always wide marginal areas having definite climatic patterns. Second statement says it has conditions of intermediate to adjacent ecosystem, hence a zone of tension. And third statement, a well-developed ecotone contains some organisms which are entirely different from that of the adjoining ecosystems. You have to select the correct answer. See, the first statement says ecotones are always wide marginal areas having definite climatic patterns. See, what is the problem with the first statement is that there you can find an extreme word which is always. See, ecotones, we know ecotones are transitional areas. They are transitional areas, and these transitional areas, yes, they will be influenced by both the adjoining ecosystem. Okay, they will be having the ecotone, it will be having the adjoining or the neighboring ecosystems. Two neighboring ecosystems will be there, and these two neighboring ecosystem will actually influence the characteristics of the species which is found in the ecosystem. So this particular ecotone which is continuously influenced by the neighboring ecosystem, we can say that it is hence a zone of tension. Okay, it's a zone of tension. There you can find many diverse species. There are many diverse species that is present in the ecotone, and they can be wide as well as narrow. Okay, they can be wide or narrow, it depends. But see, here it is saying it is always a wide marginal areas. Is it so? They are not always wide. They can be wide, they can be narrow. Okay, since that extreme word is there, you can actually eliminate the first statement. So, if you eliminate the first statement itself, you can directly hit the answer, which is option B, 2 and 3 only. Which means second and third statements, they are right. That is, it has conditions of intermediate to adjacent ecosystem, hence a zone of tension. Yes, they are having or they are being influenced by the adjoining ecosystem, hence we can say that that particular zone is a zone of tension. Third statement, a well-developed ecotone contains some organisms which are entirely different from that of adjoining ecosystems. See, when ecosystems are when ecotones are well developed, that means that they are being continuously influenced by the adjoining habitats or adjoining ecosystem. So the species and their characteristics are all influenced by the adjoining ecosystem. So along with, like we know in ecotone, what is the specialty? Yes, we can see diverse species there, right? But we can see that the species richness is very high in ecotones, and that's why we call that particular phenomenon as edge effect. And the predominant species present, we call it as the edge species, right? And also you can experience certain species which are entirely different from the two adjoining ecosystem. Why? Because the influence of both the ecosystem are being coming into picture when we take the case of ecotone. So there you can also see certain species which are entirely different from the adjoining ecosystem, right? So the third statement, it is also a right statement. A well-developed ecotone contains some organisms which may be entirely different from the adjoining ecosystem as well. So 2 and 3 will be your answer.